Okay, so welcome back to our CSCI 465. Here will be our lecture. Okay, so in our previous lab we talked about like some methods to enhance the security, but we also sometimes we did discuss like about like maybe what's the vulnerability was risk. Okay, but how about the architecture? So right here for today's we will study dive a little bit deeper. Okay, so maybe if look at the architectures or they also like the surface, how can it cause the attack? So for today we will study a little bit more. Even we already learned, okay, so there's a possible like pretty common way to enhance the security, right? So we call that in transit or at rest. Okay, so we have different way like using TLS SSL, or the way we can use the one that we can use the blockchain, okay, or using the AI to enhance it, okay. And if we look at the IoT architecture, so layers like we have the perception layer, so the device layer, so those includes the physical device. Okay, so those the sensors like we may be using Raspberry Pi, because for study we using Raspberry Pi is like good for implementation, easy to access, but in reality actually those sensor working with the device, they are not really using the Raspberry Pi. Okay, so they may be using the controller with the sensor, and then they try to collect the data from the environment. Okay, so let's say for the light bulb or the smart thermostat, so they're more like they are not really similar as a Raspberry Pi, right? So they will sense the light level, temperature, occupation, all these. Okay, so all these we can say. So far for perception layer, so it's like in the device we become like hardware on here. And then for the IoT, like we move and like sending it to the network layer, that means the communication layer. So this layer will be like we call the facilitator, is a communication between device and the application servers, or like talk to the cloud. Okay, so maybe the protocol like including the Wi-Fi, Zigbee, Bluetooth, like 5G, etc. Okay, or some of them they can working together. Okay, multiple. So maybe the thermostat, they will send the data regarding the to cloud the Wi-Fi they connect to the home, or some the smart home they were data using their 5G, like because the Wi-Fi maybe you have to configure it, and maybe sometimes you have to switch by yourself. Okay, maybe they will stay on the 5G. So right here we move on from the professional layer, and then we move on the network in the communication. So actually with two, but in different layers we have different way for attack. Okay, so that's what we say. And then for the application layer, we mean mainly the user interface like really happened. So through the apps, dashboard. Okay, so maybe the data they are processed, analyzed, and displayed to the users or service. Okay, right here. So most are pretty common. You see, we use the mobile apps, right? So nowadays pretty common. So we try to controlling the smart home devices or the cloud service, processing the sensor data, and then you can set it. Okay, some of them you can control. If a smart light bulb, you can control the colors. Okay, yeah, maybe some routine. Okay, and maybe you set the schedule. Okay, or some smart switch. So all this can like used on the application layer. Okay, so and when we look at all the infrastructure, then we need to think about what is the possible, like what's the attack surface. Okay, so what's an attack surface? So it refers to the total number of points of the entry or methods an attacker can use to interact with the system or exploit the vulnerabilities. So that means that what the risk? Okay, so this like attack surface will like vastly like expand due to the variety of the different the devices and communication protocol, connectivity options. So all this, that's why we have to look at the infrastructure. Um, Sometimes like really we know maybe some more low level device or like in based on the communication protocol. Okay, so maybe not really encrypted. Okay, or the connectivity method, like let's say they connect through the Wi-Fi. So can we scan it? So are they access to the 5G network? Okay, so all these will be the we call the service. When we try to look at the attack surface like layer by layers, so when we look at the physical layers, okay, so maybe they try to tamper. Okay, if you remember, we talked about this like physically, so they can extract the firmware, okay, manipulate the sensor, or even the physically like alter the device. So it's like possible. So maybe removing the batteries, access port of the smart lock. So here would be like think about that. Because you maybe like in your mind, yeah, you were thinking, okay, those you can not be really access, but you think about the smart lock, right? So if I want to like break into your house, okay, is it possible? Can I access your smart lock like outside of your door, like outside, and then or like access port like this on your smart lock? So they may be possible, like really physical. You are able to touch it. Okay, maybe how about like camera? Okay, so go to the camera. Okay, and probably okay, or change the connection. So is it possible? Yes. And then the we have the network layer, the communication layer. So how about the wireless communication? Are we using Wi-Fi or sometimes like Bluetooth? Okay, how about Bluetooth? Okay, so can we connect? So can we? It's possible. Can we like sniffing the package? Can we jamming the signals? Okay, so in the purpose, like for the attack, we are not only saying stealing the surface, stealing data, but if we can like let your surface like broken or like shut down your service, it may be possible. Okay, so sometimes like jamming the signals. So it's in the network layer. Okay, so how can we stop it in the communication? Then even more like on the like application, the surface layer, then we can look at different sides. So the weakness, like even in the like mobile apps, the app itself, okay, maybe the platform and then the app, and then how can we connect to the API, the API servers, all these, and then the communication between the API server and the app. Also about the cloud, okay, cloud service. So can we hack the server? So this one in the even more like exposed when we work on the lab or something for discussion. So pretty a lot, we focus on the application layer. So we introduce like maybe sometimes the API abuse or like some pull authentication. We talk about it, unencrypted traffic that like expose the sensitive data. And because like for this one, we say the surface, right, attack surface. So since they especially on the application layer, it will involve so many part of it. But sometimes we just like kind of like really didn't really discuss a lot on the physical layer or communication layer because like sometimes really hard because you really have to like get closer to it, okay, physically touch it or the work on the Wi-Fi connection. Um, just like we need to know. And then how about this? Like we have the third modeling after we know the attack surface and then the what is that called the third modeling. So it's the process. It's like of identify potential security risk. Okay, so in a system and then address those risks and how can we proactively during the design phase. Okay, so this one we talk how we design. So here we need to like understand one thing is like what we are building. So the architecture components. So we need to know. Okay, so what kind of devices, hardware, sensor, all this, and how can we set the connection? Okay, all this, and then how can we connect to API server? How can we host it? So all this we need to know, and then what can go wrong? So we need to know a potentially what the threats and then the attack vectors. So we need to know. So when we just like look at those like architectures, structures, okay, and then they are possible, then how can we? So we think what we're doing about it. So how can we like identify the some modifications and also like countermeasures to able, okay. So and then we can evaluate. So those are measures methods we are applying. So are they effective enough? Was so that's why we need to think about it. So it's like called a threat modeling. And this three types right here for the threat modeling. Okay, is the stripe. So this one is the framework. So helps to identify and categorize the threat. Okay, or we have the threat. Okay, so is the risk-based model. So to assess the severity of the identified threat. Okay, and then the tree. So okay, so the tree will be the visual representation to analyze a different attack vectors and their likelihood. Okay, so here and coming when we move on. So what this firmware necessary. Okay, right. So this is the Microsoft developed model. So it to systematically categorize and identify the threats. Okay, so the first one is spoofing. S is for spoofing. Okay, so like is that and in the impersonating a device or user. So maybe let's say if a hacker tries to pretending to be authorized user. Okay, so they pretend so as if you are the admin or like try to like maybe one of the user. Okay, and then the temporary, so they will maybe modify the data or system behavior. So this file can be like modify the device firmware. Remember this like in a in this table and the replication. So replication will be like deny of the action taken. So maybe they're not like they don't lock any records who will unlock a door like this. Like maybe they were doing this way. And for I is the information disclosure. So those are how can we exposing those sensitive information. So are they like leaking those user data, sharing those like device status by now? So when you're writing, if you the project you writing what you sending the heartbeat, okay. So in like the device, then how can you like enhance the security level? Okay, like make it more like even you showing they respond to the pain or knowing you are alive responding, it will also have some like co-related action for attacker, right? So and then we also think about the D will be the denial of service DOS. So there's disrupting service like functionality. So maybe like overwhelming a server, disabling a device. Okay, so they will take all the bandwidth like if like it happened to the device, so maybe it could like sending the DOS package out, so it will take all your bandwidth, so affect your like internet, okay, or the whole network, okay, or like if on the like application layer, so if they try overrun server, so your mobile is not working, you cannot monitor, you cannot control all your devices, or they can steal. Okay, so kind of like this, and then evaluation of the privilege. So about like getting the unauthorized access like this. So can they use the bug to bypass the authentication? So we'll say, is it possible? In long time ago, there's a lot of device like in case if you forgot the password, you forgot the login account, all this, maybe you can like try to access the connection and then you can using command line and then contact them physically, then to bypass the authentication. Then is it possible to like stop them from the unauthorized access? Then we need to think about it. So right here, let's say we already saying about the smart lock, right? The door lock maybe getting more common, popular nowadays. So if for spoofing, so maybe like involve someone, so they use the replay attack. So they were sending valid BLE signal to unlock the door. So how about this? So how can we stop? Because like we talk about spoofing, they may be just impersonating, like presenting somebody, unauthorized user. So let's say if you using mobile app to unlock it, or sometimes you have a remote, if I can try to copy your the package, okay, so like copy your signals, and then I just pretend it's you, okay, then can I try to unlock the door? So this was one, okay. So and then what's the another framework? So what's the brand? Okay, so and these are models like for scoring and assessing the risk. Okay, so the first one is the damage potential. So it's the D. So we say how bad would be this like damage. So if the threat happens, so will be there's a data breaches or denial of service. Okay, so it costs so we need to think about that. and then the reproducibility. Okay, so this is how easy is it. They can enable the attacker to reproduce the attack. So it's like one time or repeatable exposure like this. Okay. So it's like, can they easy to reproduce again? Okay. So, or like, and then we have the expose capability. So this one will be difficult. Like how difficult is it? So for an attacker to expose the threat. Okay. So does it require an advanced skills or just like easily to sending the ping or like sending package, okay, to destroy. And then we have the affected user. So maybe like how many of user or system they affect. Okay, maybe a vulnerability. So they're affecting a single device or the many of them. So we need to think about it. And then the discoverable abilities. So how easy is it? So if for attacker to discover the vulnerability, so like maybe they're just like hidden or like easy to identify, maybe they from the log. Okay, you can save like all this. So will be included in this firmware. Then about the attacker threshold will be the third one. So attacker threshold is the hierarchy rate to the model. Okay, so it may be like possible path attack paths. So in a system, so start from the root node. So what's the ultimate goal of the attacker? So maybe they want to take a full control of a device, or they just want to steal the information, or they want to make like be like make it the services done, so maybe possible. Okay, so based on this we have the branches. Okay, so based on this we have like different type of steps and setting conditions, so that they must be met or reach to the which goal. Okay, so are they going to access the devices? Are they going to like bypass the authentication, stealing the personal information? Okay, tampering. So all this will be kind of like, are they meet? Once they meet it, okay. And right here we think about, okay, what's the goal is that if the attacker, they want to unlock a smart lock, right? So we mostly, okay, the which is going to unlock the door. Okay, so maybe they need to like obtain the access to the Wi-Fi network. Okay, maybe they want to like maybe the next one will expose like some weak API authentication. Okay, and then the last step maybe try to send the unlock a command to the lock. Okay, so maybe doing in this way. And for the IoT like specific like threat modeling, and we need there's something challenge like in right here. One is the device constraint. So many of you that maybe you if you only think about Raspberry Pi, and oh no, it's pretty good, like pretty powerful CPU memory that increase expression, the new one like Raspberry Pi 5 like this. But maybe some of them they even if you think about the smart light bulb, okay. So they don't have really a CPU, right? So all this. So some of them, they only have limited memory, and then sometimes they have only have a Wi-Fi modules, right? So they package CPU battery life. Okay. So it makes it really hard to implement the traditional security measures. So like encryption, authentication. So this one I think you're more like seeing we to discuss about it, and also the diversity of the device because they run different operating system. More advanced maybe system customized OS. Okay, Linux, you know the Westbrian, okay, like this. So when they try to communicate, they may be using different protocol. So if you there's a one exercise I tell you like install on the your Windows server. Okay, so all this when they have a it make it a new uninformed like uniform the security difficulty, like because we cannot make a standard same. Okay, so all the protocols, then how can we make all this like the our security measures like fit to all these type protocols? So that's why we have to be careful and pay attention to it, and also the physical access. Okay, so sometimes they're located maybe at home, office, some factories, or like outside in a smart city, like in urban zone, they're located. So maybe if you are some controlling the traffic lights, maybe the lights outside, maybe you try to monitor certain maybe some equipments like outdoor. Okay, so then maybe physically they're able to tamper. So it's possible, right? So that's why, because there's sometimes you never really like go there and check. So even they replace it, sending you wrong data, so you never realize it. So that's why we never think. Okay, and just like right here, the device that we're using is smart lock. So the third modeling. Okay, so if we have a Wi-Fi enabled and then a mobile control smart lock, so they will use the BIE for the approximate base like unlocking, and then they will send the lock to the cloud for the user tracking. So right here. So if we look at all the details, all the tables, so if you remember, we have different drill. Okay, so let's say spoofing. So maybe it's going to replay and unlock signal from the device. Okay, for communication, tampering. So they maybe modify the firmware. Okay, so maybe expose the debug port. Okay, using the USB. So they really like plug in the USB. So with it, and then the authentication. Okay, so authentication so will be the like no secure locking mechanism provided. So like we never know who unlocked the door. Okay, so then once they're able to steal the account or like know able to like copy those like replay those unlock signal, and you never know. Okay, and the information disclosure, they may like sniffing the unencrypted Wi-Fi traffic, so contain the unlocked token. Okay, like this. Okay, and also maybe the DNAP surface, so they try to do the flooding on the surface the device. Okay, with the request, so it cause they fail to unlock. Okay, so maybe it's possible, or like delivering the privilege, so they may be exposing the vulnerability in the apps to unlock the door without authentication. So it's all possible. Like right here in this part, maybe using app, you know they're using app. So on this level, so it's also possible. And kind of like almost the last part. So going to just like go through some real case that really happened. So introduce. So we look at it, and maybe for the smart thermostat, so maybe a full pool authentication, so that of encryption. So they will make it like susceptible like to remote exploitation like this. So attacker can get access to the device like cloud service, then and then they can modify the setting. Also disable there's some like security features and stop the home alarms like this in doing this way. Okay. And it costs, one thing is that of course they can manipulate the temperature at home and then the potential energy waste, okay, or make you like discomfort, okay, or the border risk, maybe the potential like maybe they can hack into a smart home system, okay, bypass your security device, so or create some condition, okay, or the for burglary, okay. So they just like deactivate the alarm remotely, so they can do it. So this one is just a port or entry point to do that with the low security. So that's why when we trying to like learn different type of like encryption, so try to make it some mandatory right now, like for communication, and then try to integrate with like strong authentication measure, and even for login. So we are not working on the app side, but mainly for the communication, something like that, or sending data. So maybe for the app, like if we maybe need to use a multi-factor authentication, so input to prevent some unauthorized access. Okay, you will see like most of the app or the if you do like using some smart home devices, and they when you sign in using an account, maybe like they have a session expired, you have to log in again. Maybe you need to use the Face ID, and then maybe you need to get the like one time passcode. Okay, so may possible. Okay, and all these we can use. Or the Bluetooth right here, maybe the smart lock. We talk about the lock, so maybe the using the Bluetooth, so they can like if hacking they discover, so they can like easily to like exploit the weak in the locks, like using the Bluetooth protocol to unlock the door remotely, so without really the physical access. So this one may be like mainly due to like improper like parent protocol or lack of encryption on the Bluetooth signal. So okay, so we're thinking, so if like let's say we just the setting pairing, I get a new remote. If I look at your maybe model of your smartphone, and then I get a new remote, and then I try to pair it, so I can unload it anytime. So this way you don't have a really good way to like encrypt it or like pairing your new device. So they can get the unauthorized access to your home, and then do not really need your physical key or know your PIN. Okay, so they can use the potentially they can use the lock to bypass other security system, connect to the home network. Okay, so here's the part we didn't really talk about that, because like for the Bluetooth security, so also need to like strengthen by the secure like pairing mechanism, and also maybe ensure with the encrypted communication between devices. This part we have not yet, because like in our lab we didn't like really touch the Bluetooth. Okay, but and then also maybe like for the manufacturer, okay, factory, they need to work on it, then maybe how can enhance the Bluetooth pairing protocol, okay, or the mechanism. Okay, so you see probably something they have a press it and they go to the app or somehow, and they will allow for pairing. Okay, and well, also we should have a like regular firmware update. So the patches, so they must like push to the correct vulnerability as soon as they already discover. So it's a one way. And our last one will be the case will be the baby monitor hack. So it will be like 2070. So this one is the internet connected baby monitor. So if I have a significant security vulnerabilities, okay. So include like weak password and no encryption for the live videos and audio stream. Okay. So it can like access remotely. Okay, there's an unsecure cloud service, and then the attacker just a potential intercept it and then view the video feed. Okay, they can store the video feed, and then nowadays we can use the AI to change the content and everything. So it can cause a huge impact. So when they firstly they expose the privacy of a family, right? So they can potentially allow the unauthorized individual to view also invent and also gain the insights into a family daily routines, household layout, everything. So they know, okay, so they know when you're not at home. Okay, so they also can use the device to engage audio surveillance. Okay, so or like harassment. Okay, to the family. So by speaking through the device two-way communication system like this, they're all possible. And just learning one thing, of course, end-to-end encryption is important. Okay, so must be like enforced for all device transmitting sensitive data, and that's what we're learning. Okay, and also try to give a strong authentication, and this we need to use. And manufacturer try to implement certain security updates, and then conduct some regular vulnerability assessment to ensure those devices they are secure over time. Those are more important. So for quickly, we just like go through all this and just come up like right as a conclusion. So as an IoT, it introduced some like new challenge and expand the attack surface due to like right now the all the device, the diversity and the interconnection is right here, and also it will involve like more like let's say the mobile apps, okay, connect to the API account and control. So lots of things like for the smart home IoT, they allow you to control remotely. That means they will expose. Okay, so those like the threat modeling, we already talked about it. So they are trying to ensure the secure by design IoT system. So just remember the three frameworks that we're going to use, and Stripe, okay, and Stripe and help the systematically identify the threats and then the threats and attack tree to provide a way to assess the risk. Okay, there are two, and showing some like real world the branches. Okay, some real examples. So how can we like demonstrate the importance of robust securities in the IoT device? So here will be so far. Quickly go through all the lectures of this part for today, and thank you so much.